What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first annual PAX East Royal Rumble! I am your host, Aaron Trites. With me, as always, is Eric Pope. How are you doing?
My name is Aaron Trites, and I am the founder, commentator, and booker for League of Heels. League of Heels started when Alex Navarro and Eric Pope and I would talk about old Nintendo 64 era wrestling games, and we talked about how great it would be at a convention to get all of our friends together and just kind of like play through a rumble, a 30-person rumble, as kind of an excuse to get all of our friends together in one place at a show. And somewhere along the way that evolved into an actual panel pitch, thinking that because most of our friends worked at other booths or had press appointments, if we made it a panel, they would have to show up. And so we would at least get to see all of our friends for an hour out of the day. And for some reason, Penny Arcade accepted the panel.
I remember seeing Aaron Trites on Twitter saying he submitted the dumbest panel, so I logged into the panel back end, looked at it, it's like, approve. I never thought it would come to this. I took unilateral control of the PAX panel system and approved the first wrestling panel for Aaron Trites. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
And we were off to the races.
I am Khahil White, and I'm pretty sure this wrestling league is my penance.
My name's Jeff Gerstmann. I'm a professional manager of video game wrestlers. I want to ply my trade, take them under my wing, and show them what the world really looks like.
As if you didn't know my name already, it's Jammer Sammy, the reigning champion of League of Heels, video game wrestling. Thank you very much.
My name's Dan Ryckert. Yeah, well, that's the PAX Wrestling character, so this is just going to be, this is me. This is Dan Ryckert, the guy who plays the character, so that's why you don't see the usual get up right now.
I'm Amarisse Sullivan. I'm here to make friends.
What's good, PAX? What's good, League of Heels? It's your boy, Professor Killer, aka Captain Jean-Luc Go Hard, aka Walter Benjamins, aka Andre 2999. Because like 3 stacks is like you can't touch 3 stacks, but like I'm the closest one.
My name is John Drake, also known as Johnny Cashinova, previously known as the Underdraker, formerly of Run GFB, and just a scrappy video game publishing executive who loves PAX Wrestling deep down.
I'm Jenn.
I'm Trin. This is our interview.
Yes! I'm so excited to have a podcast together. We have a podcast.
What's up, everybody? I'm Greg Miller, the commissioner of PAX Wrestling, 2-time Game Award winner in 1 year. I won this other fan one. Doesn't matter.
My name is The Wolf, Alex Navarro. I am the former world heavyweight champion of what is now, I guess, League of Heels, whatever the hell the brand is these days, and soon to be, again, the world heavyweight champion.
My name is Dr. Tracksuit, and I'm a pharmacist, doctor. I'm a doctor.
My name is Samit Sarkar, and I'm a huge fan of the New York Yankees.
I'm Mikey Neumann. I work at Gearbox Software, and I have a YouTube show called Movies with Mikey.
My name is Alexa Ray Corriea. I've been in this weird establishment for about 2 years now. I write about video games. I'm really angry.
I'm Sean Baptiste, and I really love wrestling.
I'm Pat Baer. I'm the technical director at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in New York, and I've been part of the League of Heels, PAX Wrestling, since the beginning.
Dave Lang Esquire, the most electrifying athlete in sports entertainment today. I'm here today to let you know the truth.
I was terrified going into the first PAX Rumble. I had no idea how it was going to play out. I didn't know if the Nintendo 64 was going to hold up. I didn't know if anyone was going to show up. I knew that at the very least the 30 people that I booked for the Rumble were going to be there, but it could have been just those 30 people, and I would not have been at all surprised. And then once we got there and there was actually a line, and the room started to fill, and we probably drew around 500 people for that first Rumble, like absolutely gobsmacked, like had no idea that it was going to be a thing that anyone cared about.
And at that time, there weren't a lot of gimmicks because it was the first show. Like, we didn't know about Dr. Tracksuit. We didn't know about the mysterious man that has nothing to do with gaming. At the time, I wasn't sure if people were doing larger than life characters or if they were just being themselves. So I kind of stuck close to who I was.
I was in the first show back in the day, and it was chaotic, although I'll say it, the video games functioned better than they have since then. We had a pretty good, chaotic first match. A little less showmanship, a little less magic, but the raw passion for wrestling and the athleticism, and it was less of the showboating, 8.5-minute speeches, 45-minute introductions, and we've since then devolved into chaos, and I'm trying to bring it back to the core of what wrestling's really about.
Well, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't when I finally took the title in that first Royal Rumble. That was a very satisfying moment for me.
Alex Navarro definitely set the tone pretty early on. I knew that he would be good. I did not know how good he would be in the first Rumble. That he still holds the endurance record for 15 minutes and change in the ring. That he holds the record for the most eliminations over people that have been in the Rumble 3 times at this point. That he still holds the record for most eliminations after 1 Rumble is staggering.
Let me break it down for you. I was up there, I was throwing bitches over the ring. I was hanging out with my boy, Sean Alexander Allen, when a nefarious plot was executed and we were hit over the head with glass bottles. Now, that shit hurt like hell. But I'll tell you what, I was down but not out. And I was not about to let those scrubby bitches take over the rest of the Rumble without a little bit of a challenge. So I shook the stars out of my gaze, and I climbed, I crawled, I scraped myself back up into that ring, picked up that controller and said, no. You fuckers gotta fight for it. And I made them fight for it.
Just not much, milling about.
Oh, and there goes Samantha.
Finally.
Wow.
Samantha.
Wow.
Finally eliminated.
Wow.
Replacing her.
My strongest memory. You know, I think the moment I'm most proud of was the interminable negotiations that led to really just getting Run GFB together, getting the Underdraker, getting D-Leezy, getting Dr. Tracksuit, just getting all those egos in the same place at the same time on the same page. For a brief moment there, before they screwed it all up, it was gorgeous, it was beautiful.
So when I came in and I fucking set the world on fire, I give the pile driver to the body pillow, the next year I win the PAX Rumble, I get to go against Alex the Wolf Navarro, totally lose to him, but I run away with the belt, and again, everyone cares about me.
Where was I before League of Heels started? I was really only living half a life. It felt like I was asleep, and now it feels like I'm awake for the first time in my life. I have a reason to get out of bed. Previously, the only reason I had was to get into a hammock, which immediately next to my bed, to get out of the bed and immediately into the hammock. But now I really do feel like I have something to look forward to, knowing that once this show wraps up, there's always going to be another PAX. So I have something to keep me going, putting one foot in front of the other.
I've always been the underdog in this fucking league. And in this league, we have one championship. And I am the reigning queer lady champion, so suck it.
Before League of Heels came around, you know, I've been doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean, you know, I'm a connector, right? I'm a guy that can take, like, let's take this person and this concept and put them together and, you know, just kind of turn the knobs. I'm like P. Diddy in the studio, but instead of inventing the remix, I'm putting together dynamic teams of people. Ice, cold, assassins in whatever their chosen line of work is. Whether it's like, hey, we want to sit on a couch and play video games and point a camera at it, like, yeah, I can do that. You want to put together murderous wrestlers, actual killers, and have them work with just mangled-minded lunatics and delusional CEOs. I can put all that together too. I'm everywhere and I'm nowhere. Just because you don't see me out on stage doesn't mean I'm there pulling the strings, doing a little thing here like, hey, okay, hey, your hair, just straighten it up a little bit. Hey, you go out there and you club that guy. And that's what I was doing before League of Heels, and you know, those skills have served me pretty well here.
So I had no idea what I was signing myself up for. I liked those guys, I really did. And then they brought me into this shit. Of course I was the underdog. No one knew who I was. No one still knows who I am, but here I am again.
Right now I'm doing commentary, but in between I did refereeing, and then it made sense to kind of shift from the referee to being a roving interviewer and having a microphone that can move around and see things that they can't see from the desk.
I would like to keep being a good person. I want to keep being a person who's open and feeling and loving. I always feel like the underdog. I think it's pretty clear that I haven't got that push to not be the underdog. So yes, underdog. And frankly, I just want the people at home who are watching this and the people who are in the audience to be entertained. And I think that's really the problem right at the moment.
You know, I was working in communities, I was teaching, I was doing stuff at the ground level, and I missed that. You know, I still do it here and there. I still, go out and reach and speak to the people direct. I've been training my own proteges to come up in the league one day, showing them the joys of wrestling and spitting game, the whole plan. Frankly, I kind of miss it. I never thought of myself as someone who would get involved in something like this, someone who would come in and try to make a splash or make a change. I'm really excited to be here. I think today's the day. I think this is my shot. I think it's time for me to really claim what's mine.
I'm in it for personal glory. I am not in this for any fan approval. I just want to rack up as many accomplishments, notches on my belt, trophies on my wall, however you want to put it. I just want to be the best, and I want to prove it to myself, and I've never really given a shit what any of the fans or anybody else in the league has to say about it.
And did not expect to be thrown into the fray immediately, and just kind of got screwed over that first year. But it's water under the bridge now.
My goals in League of Heels are to try to shape the way that this organization moves forward. And I think this time around, maybe I can focus for just a few minutes and show people out there what I'm capable of doing as an electrifying entertainer in the world of evil asshole wrestlers.
I mean, my goals in PAX Wrestling are pretty simple, and it's to get as many Twitter followers as possible, to get as much money out of this orange as I can. And you might say, money doesn't come out of oranges, juice comes from an orange. And I say, yeah, it's a mixed metaphor, but you're not even fucking here, you're watching this, so why the fuck would you get on my back about it, all right?
Well, in my off hours, I'm employed as a mild-mannered video games media personality. But that's really just kind of what I do to pay the bills. It's all in service of my video game wrestling career. And ultimately, that is what I've always been striving for and what I plan to continue working on until the day I retire.
I'm a doctor, but I'm also a businessman. So, I was just out there trying to make a little money. And I was led to the belief, the understanding, that these wrestlers, they have a need of a doctor, a certain type of business doctor. And I just thought that maybe that would be a good place for me to ply my trade, make a little bit of money, and do my thing, with my hands, with my feet, with my body, with my backpack.
I absolutely felt like an underdog.
Yeah.
Trin and I are just two humble young boys from the Midwest.
Absolutely. Friendship is always what we're after, and it's always at the heart of everything that we do.
And maybe we'll step on some throats along the way.
All the better. Together.
As friends.
Friendship.
I wasn't going to tell this story. Fuck it. People deserve the truth. They need to know. Had a chance run-in 26 years ago with Dan Ryckert, Dirty Dan Ryckert. He wasn't Dirty Dan Ryckert then. He was working at a fucking McDonald's, making me fries and apple pies like a bitch, making me food. And I was making fun of him relentlessly because that's what I do. It's kind of my shtick. And he's like, hey man, I'm not much of a brawler, but I'd like to take you on in wrestling video games. I'm like, what? What kind of a grown-ass man doesn't handle it with these? He handles it with this. But he opened my eyes to new possibilities. What was a hobby for me could become a career. And after that chance meeting with Dirty Dan Ryckert, imagine my surprise, 25 years later, he went his path, I went mine. We both emerged at high level in the biggest competition, and he's got the better of it so far. I'll admit that. I'm man enough to admit that. But I still remember, Dan, I remember when you were making fries for me, bitch. I did this. Man, when I got my start in this wrestling game, I did it for the right reasons. Competition. See who's the best. Which elite athlete in Richmond Park, Illinois is gonna rise to the top. Then I worked myself through the smaller circuits. Some people said, you know, maybe don't drop out of college to go on this professional wrestling circuit, you know? Because I worked for years just doing the bar circuit, going to Detroit, to Pittsburgh, and just beating the mess out of people on N64 wrestling. Just beating the mess out of them. I've been robbed more times than I care to mention at barbershops, late night money matches at barbershops. Sometimes they take it wrong, they don't like it. You know, they gotta do what they gotta do, I guess. But finally got my shot at the bigs, only to find out the whole damn rotten apple's crooked and bent and ruined from the inside.
You know, Samantha, it's sad. We were partners once, but I think the two of us both knew that when it came down to us in that original Rumble, certainly neither of us was gonna step out of the way for the other. And in the end, I proved that I was better, and I proved that for several shows afterward.
But it went down how it went down.
Turning on Dan Ryckert, that miserable, useless son of a bitch. So gullible, so useless, so bad at everything. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Run GFB, I hired them because they were supposed to be mercenaries for hire, and they turned on me.
They've always been the worst.
Strongest memory from a League of Heels show. Dan Ryckert getting powerbombed through the Spanish announce table is definitely up there. That whole turn with Alex Navarro joining Run GFB, that was pretty wild. Of course, the fog machine.
Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about 2015 PAX Prime and the fog machine incident. So we're in a hotel, right? Obviously, hotel ballroom, and we have access to a hallway, and we're gonna have people come through that hallway and make grand entrances. It's like the first time we get to do like really cool entrances, and they'll walk across the stage, and it's gonna be great. I think it's like such a great idea, and someone has purchased a fog machine, small little thing, and I get it in my head that every time the door opens, I'll turn on the fog, and fog will come in, and it'll kind of be backlit with fog, and it'll look very cool for the cameras.
And what had occurred, I don't know if anyone has scientifically explained this yet, but the back of that particular room, there were two swinging doors, and as we all know, Greg Miller.
I was the one grabbing the door open, swinging it closed, grabbing the door open, swinging it closed.
But the problem is, if you know your science, you create a vacuum when you do this over and over, and we ended up sucking all of the fog into the hallway, the back hallway we were waiting in to go into the panel.
And we were basically hotboxing a little hallway.
And I remember thinking, that's a nice effect, but the fog should probably be going out into the big room.
I thought about turning to someone and saying, maybe we shouldn't turn that fog machine on.
Everyone's like, did the vapor join the league? Like, what's going on?
We could barely see 4 inches from our face, and then the strobes went off, and we heard the whoops, and we thought, maybe this is the greatest light show we've ever put on at PAX Wrestling, until we found out, nope.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will unfortunately have to ask you to clear the theater.
Fuck. Wow. Nicely done, everybody. Wow. Alex Bones Rubens is responsible for those confetti cannons.
Who would have thought this thing wouldn't go off without a hitch?
Smoke alarm.
It was the fog machine.
The fog machine. I smell GFB behind this.
And this is why we don't support the Stage Kitten rock band.
I've never felt worse for Trites.
Slowly started to realize, oh no, this is a thing that we did. We made this mess.
Welcome to the last PAX wrestling event ever.
Pretty good.
In the moment, me and everyone else in the room kind of was really confused, and then of course you had to actually walk outside and wait for the fire trucks to arrive.
As we evacuated not only the hotel ballroom, not only the hotel guests, but all the restaurants, the lobby, and every other panel that was going on until there were 3,000 people on the streets of Seattle.
And all of us, because this was taking place in the Rumble, currently in utterly ridiculous costumes, standing on the sidewalk of Seattle as firemen walked out. At this point, we realized it was probably our fault. That is a very embarrassing moment.
My name is Alexandra. I am the merch boss of the League of Heels. It was
a memorable moment, and it's strange because it filled me with anxiety because I just felt like, oh wait, how are they going to like organize everyone?
I stood out on the street with a good friend, Danny O'Dwyer, and we looked around and we realized that this wasn't just like a little corruption here or there. This wasn't just a few egomaniacs. That this was a systemic problem.
Fucking shoddy organization these days. You couldn't even get through fucking 5 minutes and then take itself finished. What's going on? There's a lot of things happening here that we have to dig into. There needs to be an investigation.
Whether or not the outcomes or what happens on the moment to moment there's discussion ahead of time. There's always surprises. There's always an element of reality here. And I thought like, okay, well maybe someone set this off on purpose. And then it started to sink in that the whole thing was a disaster.
As I used to work on the show, I immediately started texting show contacts saying, hey guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. As my first panel I've joined, we've set the fire alarm off. Everything is fine. Please don't hurt me.
Well, I was like very prepared to be like, if someone has to get banned, it'll be me.
And I definitely turned to Pat at one point and said like, well, that's the run. Like that, we had a decent shot. Like we're never gonna get to do this again. I felt awful. The firemen were rightfully upset when they finally showed up. Cannot blame them at all.
Honestly, I thought I was going back to the minors after that because I thought the league was done. Like, that was a big deal. Firemen came. It was for real. And I thought, man, there's no way PAX is going to let us back in. It's going to be going back to bars again. It's going to be doing things I don't want to do for money again. But, by the grace of God alone, we're still in here.
I was hoping it would be over, but no, they've continued.
I'm shocked it's still operating. I assumed that if the fire marshal didn't shut it down, that PAX would. So.
It's a great character for a minute. We're all going to be super embarrassed by this, and I just hope they let us do it again.
But thankfully, Penny Arcade and Robert Koo, who was running the show at the time, unbelievably understanding. It didn't hurt that Pope and I were incredibly apologetic, but this kind of left the show thinking like, that's the end of the run. We're never going to get to do this show again.
When we came back through and that crowd was cheering for us all the way in, I knew that we were going to put on a show that nobody would ever forget.
And so like that was the moment of, this is the best PAX show we've ever done. This is the best panel. My only regret about the fire alarm going off that I caused when I screamed, turn on the fog machine.
Turn on the fog machine!
Was the fact that it wasn't in the real PAX building. Because the only way the story could have been better was that we evacuated the entire convention center. Instead, we just evacuated a Hyatt or whatever.
They can't stop me, not with fire, not with smoke, not with rain and thunder.
In the end, I think we can all agree that it was the fire alarm that ultimately cost me the match. The noise of it, the ruckus, the commotion of the crowd filing in and out, it messed with my game plan, messed with my head. My head was not fully in the game.
With Alex down, Pat's furiously scrambling to plug the controller in.
Hashtag love wins! Hashtag love wins! She's coming over the top! She's done it! She's just gonna get down!
Ladies and gentlemen, your new champion, Samantha.
I had to refocus after that because I was shook. I can't lie, I was shook. And having to compete after that, not many people could do it at the level I did it, I put all that stuff behind me and I went out and I competed the best I could. Wasn't in for me that day, but yeah, the fog machine is not something I look back on fondly.
It was devastating being there when the alarm went off, It was, everyone had worked so hard to get ready for that show, and, we had a plan in place that was going to just devastate everyone. It was going to leave the crowd knocked on their asses. It was going to leave all those other competitors just done, gone. Everything was set up just right. And then they turned on the fog machine.
But the actual truth of the matter is, don't put your fog machine next to a vacuum you're creating. It's physics, guys. Come on.
That was a low point. That was not my proudest moment in League of Heels.
Honestly, I am constantly disappointed in the League of Heels. I came here to make friends, and since I was in the Indie Love Coalition, and I got to watch very good people turn into very bad people.
Look, all these people are morons. They need someone like me to help get them to the next level.
I've been very surprised at how bad most people are.
There are a lot of pretty talented people in the League of Heels. Talented at being total assholes, I mean. There's a lot of talkers.
Everyone loves to shout. Everyone loves to hear the sound of their own voice, even when so, bless your little hearts, so many of you don't really think about what you're gonna say ahead of time, but you start shouting anyway. Let's work on that.
They aren't good on the microphone, they aren't good at wrestling video games, they aren't good at entertaining a crowd, they aren't good at public speaking. I mean, have you seen some of the promos from these people?
I don't like Navarro. I don't like Ryckert. Actually, I don't like anybody. Everyone's an asshole in their own way.
I'm not the biggest guy. When I was in GFB, I was surrounded by sentient redwood Groot motherfuckers that couldn't get their shit together.
No one likes you, John Drake.
Dave Lang is a living monster. You know, John Drake is a sociopath with a high credit limit. The league is filled with villains.
My name is Jenn. I come with a wave of people from Canada who decided apparently to take over this entire shit show of a wrestling event. I mean, to be honest with you, I only watched a couple of seconds because most of the time it was nonsense. Just people messing up and wasting time in the Rumble and like just not actually being entertaining, so I had to cut short. So I may have watched maybe 10 seconds of everything.
The things I remember the most are being betrayed, betrayals happening around me, watching other people betray. Everybody is bad. Everybody is a bad person. They step into that room and they turn into a horrible person. And you just watch these people who you like and respect and you watch them turn into monsters.
Everyone else, just sort of somewhere in the middle, like the middle of a mediocrity sandwich.
So we went from clearing a hotel room to getting the opportunity to do PAX South. So I knew they weren't super mad at us.
The Southern Slam was a chaotic event. There's a lot going on there.
PAX South had a very different energy.
Mini chokeouts, lots of people running on stage, and I was still confused.
My name's Chris Waters. I am the author of the Gamer's Bucket List. I was at the PAX Southern Slam niche event in the roster, I guess you could say. More of a, I like to think of it as prestigious because, you know, we invited a lot of different people. You know, game developers were involved. You know, published authors. It was a real fun event.
It made the whole league look bad. It was impossible to do commentary under those conditions.
Also, just the level of competition was not up to snuff. That guy got up and went to the bathroom in the middle. Just pee your pants. The show must go on. Just pee your pants.
PAX South, a lot of wrestling. PAX South. PAX South. PAX South!
Aaron, I've never seen this before. Oh God, it's happening. Oh God.
Daisy chain of sleeper.
Serial sleeper hold.
Skater.
No. Oh, staircase.
Amarisse,
That was almost actually.
I persevered, you know. I did the best I could given that fucking debacle that was wrestling that day. I can't believe some of them invited back.
Coming into the Southern Slam, I did some preparation, you know. As a published author, I know that research is very important. So I did research. I felt like I had a good chance of getting back in the ring. If thrown out of the ring, it's just what I did.
Inexperience showing in the Cards Against Humanity team as both Trin and Jenn eliminated via countout.
I still am not totally sure how to get back into the ring.
Yeah. Is it up C?
So people say up C, but I swear to God, I pressed up C I pressed up C.
Up C was pressed, I would say. Yeah.
Several times.
Do you think maybe if you're gonna compete at Southern Slam, Amarisse, do you think maybe if you're gonna compete, Jenn, you might wanna look at a game fucking fac and see what button gets through the ropes? Do you think maybe you wanna do that?
I was a PlayStation kid, never played much wrestling on N64, so yeah, I definitely did feel like the underdog.
I guess not everyone spent the entirety of their teens in their parents' basement playing these video games, which sounds like a wasted childhood to me.
I still don't know what the controls are. Like, the entire time that I was playing in the first Rumble, I didn't even know which character I was for the half of the time. I had to look down the row to see if anyone was standing up any time anyone got knocked out. And if no one stood up, I guess it was me. And I stayed in for like 5 minutes. How did that happen?
I felt like the underdog because I had no idea which game we were playing. I hadn't played the game before, or if I did, it was back in 2000 some year, so never played the game. A little confused as to the order of operations, but yeah, those two sum it up, actually.
I always feel like the underdog in the PAX Rumble, mostly because I'm some would say intolerantly bad at just video games in general, but especially Nintendo 64 era video games. I am god awful.
But yeah, everyone has been uniformly awful at the game. Even when I've printed out schematics of the controllers, basics like the grapple, the punch, fairly rudimentary mechanics in the game. Seems to be beyond most of the performers in League of Heels.
We go from Fog Machine to Southern Slam to the ultimate stage any professional athlete can hope to compete on, main stage at PAX, right?
PAX Mania 2 at the main stage was absolutely unbelievable. It still feels kind of like a fever dream. It does not make sense to me that we continue to fail up.
It was a perfectly natural progression of everything that had happened up to that point. Obviously, there are stumbling blocks along the way, but obviously, there's going to be chaos. You're going to pluck order out of that. And then you're going to have PAX Mania right there, main stage.
I was honestly shocked and actually kind of excited.
We were right where we should be. We were right where we belong. On the main stage, in front of everyone. Biggest show, biggest production. If anything, PAX was just making space to contain the true shape and scope and scale of our glory.
I figured that they were kicking it up a notch. I hadn't had the opportunity to see a PAX Mania in person until PAX Mania 2. And then I did, and that was something else.
Just knowing that it was on the main stage, oh, this is suddenly a big deal. I had never actually been in the main theater of that convention center, so it was a pretty big first experience.
It's opened them up to a whole larger audience. Who knows where they'll go from here? They can't be stopped.
I thought, you're gonna give them the main stage, you're gonna burn it down. But also I realized it was an opportunity, because at the main stage, there'd be more people than ever where I could get my message across.
Well, the main stage was perfect because that was the biggest opportunity I had to make a statement, and it completely worked. Greg Miller fell directly into my trap. I hired the Kaijus to be on my side. I injured Greg Miller. I took him out of action. So it felt right. I mean, if I was going to enact this master plan, what better place to do it than the biggest stage of them all, or at least the biggest stage that Aaron Trites can put together. And yeah, it felt great. It was the right place.
I thought, here we go. They're finally accepting of what this is. They want to embrace the chaos. They're going to give us a better time slot. Oh, they didn't do that. That sucks. Why is it always Sunday morning when we're all hungover and no one wants to be there? Why? Then I was excited it was a bigger room, because I was like, here we go.
I was kind of shocked. I didn't think I'd ever do anything on a main stage at PAX. I've been to concerts at night. I've been to some of the daytime panels. It's a huge room.
Being on the main stage was a really momentous occasion. I felt like we'd finally made it to the big time. We had hundreds and hundreds of people there cheering for us, mostly booing, now that I think back on it, but they were there. And it was far larger and more structured than we had any right to be.
I was shocked, and I was ready to compete. I told my mom about it. She never used Twitch before. And I got Mama ready to go. I got our bookmark set up. And she was pretty disappointed when the game console didn't work. She didn't understand what was going on.
Is it true? Well, everything is terrible then. Oh, you're killing me. Oh, yeah, okay. Do that one. I hate my life.
I thought to myself, I hope all of the tech works. I really, really hope some wrestling happens at this one. This is a huge audience. They definitely want to see wrestling.
You fucked up! You fucked up! You fucked up! You fucked up! Wow.
But that's kind of par for the course for our shows. Kind of have to be willing to roll with the punches. You know, a certain number of people aren't going to show up. You have to understand that a certain amount of tech won't work. Anything at all.
Set it up to work though, have they?
Oh boy.
I left you alone for one fucking show.
Oh boy.
Is this planned?
Nope.
If things keep going the way they're going, there may not be much video game wrestling left in the show.
It would have been nice if the musicians had shown up, but
I thought Guitar Bear, we paid Guitar Bear money to do this. Am I really doing?
I think Eric Pope has the voice of an angel, much like his demeanor. He's a lovely human being who I care about very, very deeply, and listening to him sing nearly brought me to tears.
From sea to shining sea.
Regret.
All I wanted to do was play a video game! Navarro seemingly at a loss for words!
My name is Cohen Edenfield. My main area of expertise is my own murder at the hands of the coward and charlatan Alex Navarro. The short, sharp sensation of a Nintendo 64 controller being crushed against my thin, eggshell-like skull, and my own brains and soul and heart leaking out on the floor of his unfortunately chosen shoes.
Oh, right, Cohen. Yeah. In retrospect, maybe murdering him wasn't the right move at the time. I could have just, beat him up a little.
I largely focus on revenge, plans and execution of plans, vis-a-vis revenge. I have purchased a length of bike chain, a chain for bicycles, which I will use to beat him to death.
What I didn't bank on was him taking an incorporeal form and haunting me for 6 months following. That's been a little bit of a challenge, to be frank.
I'm going to haunt your ass from here to hell and back. Ow, you ow.
I didn't go from a Diet Coke can to the Underdraker as a choice. I was viciously murdered. I was the first murder to happen in PAX Wrestling.
John Drake back from the dead.
I really enjoyed injuring Greg Miller, and I enjoyed kicking Alex Navarro in the face. I've never been a fan of either of those men, and getting an opportunity to be at work and to inflict any kind of physical pain on either of them was a joy. I have something to prove, and anytime I lay a kick in or drop an elbow, I'm making a statement that no matter how much these people conspire against me, I'm going to come back with full force every time.
Dan Ryckert needs to stop injuring people. That needs to stop right now. And Austin Walker needs to not try to take people's head off. Other than that, it's great. It's great. One person died.
The night before the very first show, I appeared on some rinky-dink podcast panel or some shit. And at the very end, they're going to do like a pre-show to get the crowd, hey, here's a wrestling thing we're doing. It was new to PAX. We've been wrestling professionally for years, but it was new to PAX. And we wanted to let them know what's going down with this wrestling thing. And John Drake punked me out with a bottle from behind. So like I said, I don't really remember too much, but how can you forget getting bushwhacked and hoodwinked by that moneyed son of a bitch? Just the worst.
And so it was important that it was on the grandest stage when I took my swing. Well, to be fair, Dr. Painlove took the swing, but I was the one who was like, yo, hit her, and then she did, so, it was kind of like me swinging, indirectly.
My strongest memory from a League of Heels show is when John Drake hit me in the head with an urn. It really hurt.
My second favorite memory would be hitting Alexa Ray Corriea in the head, beginning one of what is many traumatic brain injuries that she's suffered throughout the years.
Woo! My goals are to get paid and crush as many heads as I can, because there's one thing a doctor knows, is how to do damage, so that then they need treatment from me, a doctor.
I would never hurt Trin. I would never let anyone else hurt Trin.
Same as.
Are we allowed to swear?
Yep.
No, I better not swear. Okay.
I wouldn't hurt Jenn or let anybody hurt Jenn either. It's kind of like the 3 rules of robotics for me, except with Jenn.
Really teaming up on it.
It's hard to pick a favorite. If I had to pick one, it'd probably be at PAXomania 2, when you had actual professional wrestlers come and hypnotize the entire place. It was so far out of my expectations, and it was just a wonderfully silly way to end that show that it was just wonderful.
We're a scrappy, hungry group of idiots.
We shouldn't have been able to do that. And then we did it, and it turned out great. So, I mean, it was a disaster, but it was a good one.
I mean, my future in the league, in PAX Wrestling, is pretty simple, right? Like, I will continue to be the golden child. Everything will constantly come up right for the commissioner. It's one of those, like, nothing bad ever happens to me. Do you notice this? That I go there with my clipboard and my Voss water, and I just yell at people, and I get more popular on the internet, and I win more awards, and Dane Ryckert really, really tries to do all this stuff, and it never works out for him. I will continue to be more and more successful until finally The Rock sees this. He sees a PAXomania, and he's like, that is the kind of guy I want to come be in the Fast and Furious movies.
Because I think there's one truism in video games, is as you get older and your reflexes dull, you just get better, man. It's like, you just get better at games with age. And so my day's gonna come. I got a better ticker, I got more heart than anyone else in this goddamn league. And I'm gonna be a winner one day, I can feel it, I know it.
I think what I'm chasing, told myself I wasn't gonna do this, chase the dream, you know what I'm saying? I just want to get 10th or better place, you know? I just want to get to 10th. It's so hard! Don't stop.
Well, I think really the future for me is that I just want to go out there and I want to compete as hard as I can for everybody and give anybody who supports me a big old hug, and I just want to keep my skin in the game.
As the world's greatest video game wrestler, I predict and expect that I will remain the champion for the lifetime of the league. No one can ever best me, no one can ever top me. So I'm gonna be around, I'm gonna be at the top of this pyramid for all time.
I keep coming back because Samantha has to go down. Someone has to turn this League of Heels around. I think there's too many people being shitty. There's too many people being the heel. I get it, we're League of Heels, but someone has to be like actually good for once. Like somebody has to not be such a big fucking jerk. Samantha Kalman.
I hope that I haven't gotten too high for it. You know, like I see Samantha, and Samantha is like a walking warning of what it can be, of what the gold can do to a person. But every now and then there's this moment, this crack, this rupture, and there is a chance for something new to happen. I'm that chance. Who knows what comes tomorrow? You can't bet against that. You can't go to the stock market on who knows what comes tomorrow. I'm determined to make sure that what happens tomorrow is an unknown, that it's gonna be a sucker punch to any sucker who dares step to me or to any of the fans.
I approach every single one of these like it might be the last one. So I'm trying to get everything I can get out of it every single time.
The future, I mean, I'm kicked out. That's for real. They won't let me back in ever since what happened with Greg. And I've had a long history of weaseling my way back into things when I want it bad enough, and I want this worse than I've ever wanted anything. The whole reason I got into gaming journalism was in the hopes that someday there would be a fake video game wrestling convention tradition, and that I could be part of that. And to be kicked out of that is the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with, to be honest. You see, since I got kicked out, I got put on 30 pounds. I lost my hair. I mean, this is what I've got, and I'm sorry. I don't know what I'll do.
And who knows? Maybe in the future, someday, when the Yankees are on top of the baseball world again, maybe I will return to the League of Heels.
You know, now that my book tour is done, I think I've got a copy here somewhere for the Gamer's Bucket List. I'm not sure, if I'm going to be on the road, where things are going to take me. There's some things that I left on the table some maneuvers that I didn't quite execute properly, and a certain someone whose abuse of books and also beating of me, but mostly the book abuse thing, really irked me. I'd like to get back in the ring with this someone.
My future with the League of Heels, I don't know. I think it's too much for me. Like, I can't handle the pressure. I'm really awkward and I still don't know how to play. I don't know what I'm doing.
So I would get rid of John Drake. I think his suit is dumb and it's not even made out of real money. Like, come back when your suit is actually worth something. That would be great.
You know, I come back every PAX because I think there's so much more we can do. I'm all about bringing out the best in people. As a manager, as an investor, as a publisher, it's really about taking a raw product and making it even better. So I come back because I have a 9-year contract and I have to appear, or Dave Lang Esquire has threatened to sue me. So beyond those legal obligations, just because it's fun, I guess. Is it fun? Who could say?
Disruption. Once again, adding to the general more chaos I'm a big fan of. The more chaos, the better. So as long as this league is going on this path, I might as well see it burn everything to the ground.
I see nothing but victory in our future.
If we're ever invited back again, I would say that we would be unstoppable. The Bane train and the Trin train.
Pulling into the station.
Yeah, rolling over everyone else.
I've always been an underdog in everything I've done. And I've never had any advantages. I mean, sure, I went to good schools and my parents had money. It was a safe area to live in. Sure. Doesn't hurt being white either. I can't lie about that. But in this wrestling game, am I an underdog? Every time I step in that damn ring, I'm an underdog. No one wants to see me win. No one wants to see me win. Every time. That's why I fight so hard for what I get.
I got a submarine. You're not gonna believe this thing. I got a submarine, it's got a bed on it, it's got 5.1 home theater. You should check out my sub. No, wait. Who are you? You're filming me. Are you a cop? All right, you have to tell me if you're a cop. We pick up things on the sub, we get it back into the country. Boston, Port City, no problem. Seattle, Port City, no problem. It's the main port of call. Dr. Tracksuit port of call. It's a screenplay I'm working on. You should really read it, man. It's really good, brother. I got it. We go down south. We come back up. We go in Boston, Seattle. Drop off packages. Boom, pow, pow. I'm gonna need an alliance. I've been talking to some people. We got big things in the works, brother. Oh, you should really be a part of this thing. I like the cut of your jib. Wait, no. You are a cop, aren't you? I'm gonna kill you, man.
Once again, I look forward to becoming your World Heavyweight Champion of League of Heels and holding that title for many, 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 many years to come.
Alex Navarro, I'm going to beat you to death with a bicycle chain.
You'll see me again. This isn't the end yet, and I'll find a way.
You know, I don't think of them as failures. It's preparation for success. It's preparation for success.
It is what it is, right? Like, some people want to say that, like, oh, you're like the LeBron James of video game wrestling. Like, I get that because, like, everyone wants to know what my answer is, right? But I think at the end of the day, the thing is, like, Austin Walker is the Austin Walker of video game wrestling. I have all these aliases, but I stand by my name. And I'm gonna do what it takes to make sure everyone remembers it.
Well, to all the kids out there, I'd just like to remind you that murder is a capital offense, and even if you aren't tried and convicted for it, there's a decent chance that if you kill someone, their ghost will haunt you and bother you for the rest of your life. So before you murder someone, please keep that in mind.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I cannot imagine that League of Heels has made any impact on the gaming industry. If it has, it's surely negative.
I only see it as a niche and something that has potential with a very specific core of nerds. So I don't see it as very impactful. I make games, so I know the real side of things, but that's a lie. I do marketing. I don't really do games, whatever. Nobody's gonna take me seriously. No, they don't have an impact, really.
Well, it's done a lot of great things for the community. People are really into this and into watching everyone shit talk each other and, just basically be terrible people. Which means everyone's terrible. So, not so great for the industry members themselves, but it's great entertainment.
Like absolutely gobsmacked, like had no idea that it was going to be a thing that anyone cared about, and I'm still not sure why it's a thing people care about.
I think it's had, what kind of impact has it? None.
No,
I mean,
it's
had some impact.
I think, it's net neutral because, you get a little bit of this. Well, it's just, I don't know.
I guess I never really understood why people cared about wrestling. And now that I've participated in this, I still really don't get why people care about wrestling.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of still at square one, to be honest.
Why are you doing this and why are you here? I mean, I don't get you or this at all, but
where are we? What are we doing? These are some big questions we have to answer.
I mean, really, League of Heels, it's a philosophical conundrum, a Cohen, if you will, that will never be understood through the test of time.
I think that this league survives anything. It's like a cockroach, whether it's at a PAX panel or just in some alley up the street or something like that. I think these people are going to get together and be astoundingly bad at wrestling video games, no matter if you're streaming it out on the internet or putting it in front of people or anything like that. I think that's just all they know.
Moving to Canada, definitely. You just look at the amount of people we have right now. It's actually a slow takeover.
And the league itself, I think, we're moving towards world domination. I think we've crossed the 100 superstar mark now across all the shows that we've done in the video game industry. And at some point, I think, really we're looking at who won't have been in a League of Heels match.
At this point, the league could be unstoppable. There's no way of turning this off. For myself, I'm gonna watch from the sidelines. Once in a while, jump in, maybe helps to stir up some shit. We'll see how it goes.
I do think it's really fun and a cool way to see a lot of different people in this industry interact with one another. And I know a lot of people who come to me and say oh, I didn't know about that indie dev, but I really like them in the League of Heels, so now I'm checking them out. Or, oh, I don't go to that website, but I like that person in League of Heels.
I think the league on its own can go incredible places.
I've said it before, I don't know how long the league will last. But if it does last, I think it'll be on the backs of the people who come to watch us. Because at the end of the day, if those people aren't happy, there won't be a league.
I just want to make this league a better place.
Don't listen to that voice that tells you you can't do something you want to do. Let's keep making wonderful things and breaking wonderful people together.
I think the story of this league is just such a cool one. How improbable that, from the idea to get together a bunch of goobers to play a video game and heckle each other, spawned the League of Heels, now this international juggernaut of entertainment.
I think the future of the league, at least to me, is making people happy by doing the single dumbest, sometimes most revolting, idiotic, practically worthless, joyful, love-filled, great time with people I love to death. Some of my best friends are in that room. We do the dumbest thing, but we do it out of love, and we do it out of the need and necessity to put a smile on people's faces by acting like a bunch of dumb assholes. And we are so good at that.
Man, I can't imagine the future of PAX without it, which is the strangest thing that I could ever say. What a weird mishmash, ragtag team of misfits. Why did this happen and why does it continue to happen?
I have tried explaining it to my friends who don't participate in PAX or nerd culture in the same way, and it is just impossible to put into words. For better or for worse, I cannot explain what it is to someone else. And I think you're right, I can't imagine PAX without it at this point.
A thing I truly don't understand and never could. I hope it's here forever.
It still feels like a dumb goof between me and the friends I want to see at a show. And that anyone else cares about that means the world to me. That folks continue to come out and fill these theaters. It feels like far more than we deserve. I could not be any happier. So from the absolute bottom of my heart, sincere thanks to everyone that has supported League of Heels in any way.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Thank you very much. This is the stupidest thing we've ever done.
I don't know why you watch us, but I appreciate you tuning in and tweeting and saying horrific things and sharing memes. We've gone through a lot together in the 4 years of League of Heels and PAX Wrestling and every other incarnation and 9 or 10 personas, and I just thank you for coming out. And you have terrible taste, but you know, we'll keep showing up to make sure your terrible taste buds are stroked appropriately.
Thank you so much for watching. I think that's the #1 thing I want to say to the fans.
Hey, if you're out there watching, I just want to say thank you for supporting us. We're big fans of you guys, and I'm a big fan of you guys, and I hope to hear you cheering me on at the next PAX.
If you, I mean, final words, what would I say to a fan of the league? It's simple. Why don't you bring more Turn on the Fog Machine signs?
Yeah, man, you know, everyone out there who supported me, man, I got so much love for you. It's you that makes this possible, and I love you very much. Thank you. Are you gonna keep that? Don't, like, I don't want to look too soft. Are you gonna keep that? No. Okay.
PAX South! PAX South! Nope. There's no one actually on this floor, where there's only the one chair. This is the most amazing room ever. Huge room, a single chair. One chair. This is my domain.
Do you have any? There's a tiny moth. Either that or my drugs are kicking
That was
in.
a dust speck.
Is it?
I think it was.
Okay.
It better not be a moth. You hate moths.
I do hate moths, that's why I'm a little worried.
I didn't see it.
I'm gonna have more booze real quick.
Okay. Sure.
Cool. 1 second.
Fog machine! Fog machine! Fog machine!
I was told that the fire marshal would be in the room for this panel. Fuck! There will not be any fog machine, I guarantee you.